Hi folks, this is a video for CCNY Ear Training, and today we're continuing our discussion of non-diatonic pitches, listening to them, understanding how they're constructed, how they work in different ways, and again, when we use the term non-diatonic, that's just a fancy way of saying notes that are not one of the 7 notes in the key that we're in. So if we're in G major has G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp in it, right? So when this note appears, or this note, the B flats and F naturals are not technically in the key of G major. Of course, in pop music, those kind of sounds are ubiquitous. It happens all the time. And so that's not unusual for us to hear. Our ears know that pretty well, and we've been singing stuff that uses them and listening to them. But so far, we've only really deployed them in a way that is just sort of interchangeable with others, like where flat 7 is used as just 7, right? Its function is just lower than 1, where we have, like, it works over a 1 chord. Same with 3. Those little, that sounded really corny, but that kind of idea. But today I want us to start listening and hearing these non-diatonic pitches that are more, I guess, potent, based on the harmony that's underneath them. And I'll give us a new term to think about when we're talking, or a couple new terms when we're hearing music like this. So if we look at just this 4-measure melody from Hamilton, this is King George's refrain that is hilarious and very catchy. I think the tune's just called You'll Be Back. So this is in G major, and you see here that there's a couple non-diatonic pitches. There's this F natural that comes at the end of measure 1 into measure 2, and this E flat that comes at the end of measure 3 into measure 4. And this tune, this melody just repeats over and over again. And, it's something like da 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 da. And that's how the melody is. There are no words. It's this kind of scat singing. You'll, of course, be doing this with numbers. But let's look and listen to how these non-diatonic pitches are deployed. So this F natural, 1, 2, 3, 1, 7, da, that F natural after this little downbeat of measure 3, that F natural has resolved in some way to this E. This move from F is a different use of this F natural than just what I mentioned earlier, where this flat 7 is just kind of a neighbor tone to 1. And the reason why it sounds more powerful here is the harmony that's being used. And I'll save a deeper discussion of this for your harmony class. But that second chord is, we have a G in the first measure, then a G with an F in the bass, which is really just like a G7, and that goes to C major, with a different bass note, but the basic chord in the third measure is C major. So the second chord, G7, is not a 1 chord, but it's really a 5 chord, a 5 of C. So what we've done is borrow a chord from a different key, from C major. And this is what we call modal borrowing or modal interchange, modal mixture. There's a bunch of different kind of terms for it. But it's just a fancy vocabulary for taking a chord from a different key for a second, right? So instead of just going from G from 1 to 4, which sounds fine, there's plenty of great music that does that, but that motion from 1 to 4 is given some more weight. It sounds more powerful, when we borrow that G7, that F natural. So instead of this, we have this. See the F? So the tug to C major is provided by that flat 7. Da, 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 da. So, a long way of saying that F natural, ba-da-da, 1, 2, 3, 1, sev, 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 6, 5, 6. That move from sev to 6, given more weight based on the chord progression. Now the next diatonic, non-diatonic pitch is the E flat. And here, so this is the downbeat of measure 3. And 6, 4, 1, right? 6, can I say 6, 1, and 6, so this is measure 3, and 6, 4, 1, 6, 1, 6, okay? Now, I said 6 for this E flat, right? Instead of the syllable flat. Why? Really, it doesn't matter which one you choose to sing, and it's not really important to me, a matter of syllables, but what that E flat, why that is so potent, is also from a kind of modal borrowing. And I'll show you how. But notice how that's different than if we would have just gone, so measure 3. Right, it's not a passing tone. It's not something like, which sounds cool, but with that C minor chord underneath it, so we had ba da 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 ba da da da, right? So the harmony is what makes that flat 6 so strong, and that C minor harmony, where does it come from? Well, it comes from G minor. I mean, I guess you could argue that it comes from C minor, but it doesn't really, right? This E, we're still in the world of G. We borrowed this G7 in the second measure from C major, then we go to C major, and then the C minor chord is from G minor. Think about your chords, your diatonic chords of G minor, right? There's G minor. The 4 chord in G minor is a C minor. We know this sound really well. C minor, G minor. So that's what's happening here. So a cadence, in this case, is a 4-1 cadence borrowed from G minor, right? Da, 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 back to G major. So the whole thing, ba da 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 da, G7 da ba da ba da da ba da 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 da. So that F natural, just to summarize here, the non-diatonic flat 7 in measure 1 and 2. Not your typical pop music flat 7. Why? It's more potent because it is undergirded by that G7 that is borrowed from C major. And indeed, we get in measure 3 the C major, which is a 4 chord in G major. So that G7 in measure 2 is a 5 of 4. 5 of 4. Sorry, my phone keeps, I really should turn it off. I'm almost done. And then in measure 4, we have 4 chord. It's a C minor, it's a 4 chord, but borrowed from G minor. And then back to 1. And this all just repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 da. My rhythm, I wasn't following that so well, but you will sing this with numbers, and you'll sing it with numbers in G major. That E flat, if you feel more comfortable calling it 6, that's fine, because it is a 6 of G minor. It's 6 of the key we're borrowing from. But if you want to call it flat, that's fine too. Okay? But this is all a way of, and by the way, minor 4 chords, modal borrowing from minor 4 is all over pop music. This is not something peculiar that I'm showing you. I don't want to show you peculiar stuff. I want to show you stuff that happens all the time, and you'll start hearing it. These minor 4 chords are all over the place. I could show you a ton of examples, but this is a compact one and a catchy one. So that's what you're doing with this stuff, and yeah, start listening, and when you notice these minor 4 chords, maybe make a note of it and send me a little note that, oh, I heard a minor 4 chord here. Okay, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you all soon. Okay, take care.